is it going, everybody? This is your favorite shogun here, Sugi, and today I'm gonna be reviewing the Season 1 of MASHLE, also known as MASHLE Magic and Muscles, and this is based on a manga that is currently running on the weekly Shonen Jump that tends to be the home of the latest and the hottest and the most popular shonen shows out there often than not, and they just have this formula really figured out of like finding the new best talent, I guess, and just bringing them over, and if they don't brutally cancel them after like 15 chapters, they tend to be, quite popular shows. And I think like maybe even 80% of those shows which actually like go over than that 15 chapters tend to have actual anime adaptations. So it's really crazy when you think about it. But that's a whole nother video that I might be doing in the future. Now we're going to be focusing on MASHLE, and I should probably start by explaining a bit about what is this anime about. And probably the most easiest, comparison that can be made, which other people have already done, is that it's like a combination of Black Clover meets Harry Potter. But it's a lot more comedic and gag-like than those two. It's more like Kuso Saiki meets Black Clover meets, a Harry Potter setting, so to speak. So it's about this very young, powerless, and by powerless we mean person who can't use magic, Mash Burnedead, and basically, people in the world that are magicless, well, let's use the word muggles this time, are kind of considered like threat to the gene pool, and they are usually like eradicated and stuff like that. And his adoptive father basically lives with MASHLE in, outside of the city, in the woods basically. Is basically hiding him from the world. And he doesn't have any interactions with other people, and that's why he's probably a bit more of an autistic character. And then, he gets find out because he makes a trip into the city, and turns out there's people who find out that he's actually not having any magic. And the police kind of come over to his home, and, and shit goes down, and then, well, eventually, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but he will end up rolling up to the magic school equivalent of Hogwarts, and this is called the Eastern Magic Academy, and there he has to pretend that he is using magic when he's really not. So what he does actually, he has this like superhuman physical strength, absolute speed, absolute strength, and it seems like he's having a lot of like powers, but in reality he's just using his physical awesomeness. So it's kind of like a One Punch Man and Asta combined. Like even Asta is not this powerful in the beginning or in the current part where the anime is. But it's not like a series that takes itself like super serious. Like this is a very gag-like, but there are like aspects about of it that are, I guess, like there are fights which are like interesting and not like happening, don't end up or conclude themselves in 2 seconds, but there's like always a level of comedy involved in them, and that's like the recurring theme. I think it's quite like the Beelzebub, another weekly Shonen Jump series that a lot of people don't actually talk about. I mean, the manga was really good, but the anime adaptation wasn't like super amazing, but that's like very much like what this is about. It's about like the story of Mash being in the academy, meeting friends. There's obviously like a cast of characters that are in his, and there's like kind of like a Harry Potter style, like there's different dorms and they have different members on them, and they're competing against each other to become this sort of a divine visionary, which is like the highest title or the highest ranking you can get from the school. What is the valedictorian essentially. And the thing is that it's like, as I said, as a comedic, it's kind of having that Kuso Saiki, autistic style humor being used. I think it's like, it's a very lighthearted show. That's kind of what compels to me about it, not the humor. I've always had this bit of a hard stance about like anime humor. It's a bit for the normies for me. It has never been that funny. I don't find Japanese people very funny. Like when I watch their stand-up or their other comedy shows which are not anime, they're not funny people to me. For some people, yeah, it works. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Everybody has different tastes, but I'm more into kind of like more black comedy, darker comedy. And that's not really the repertoire of, anime in general or Japanese people in general. That's not what they're known for. And I don't think there's really that many black comedy style anime out there, which would really meet the. But it's like we're side railing here. In terms of the OST, nothing really special here. Animation, I think there's a very sharp style with the original manga, which is very simplistic, but it's very sharp. And it kind of reminds me slightly of Fairy Tail and maybe something else, which I can't really put my mind into it. But it does have a bit of a distinguished style, which I can appreciate. And, you know, it's not like horrible. I'm not really like the guy who is like really paying shit ton of attention into animation, as I keep saying on my multiple reviews. And the story is actually not like super bad. I think it's like just only like kind of developing here. They kind of open up the doors here. I mean, this is only like, what, 12 episodes or something? So we don't really have that much to go on in terms of like build up. I did read the manga actually before the anime started, and I feel like the pacing is kind of fast actually in this one, which is fine. I've always been like that in terms of the manga to anime comparisons, but I haven't read manga in years, but like this is one of the few occasions when I actually like look into. And I always usually look into what Weekly Shonen Jump is doing, and that's how I got acquainted with the MASHLE. So I'm really glad that they did the adaptation. There are a lot of people who don't like it, obviously. It's not really like going to be everybody's cup of tea, and it's not the most funniest thing out there. It's not the most visually best out thing there, and it's not like exactly One Punch Man either. It's like different style humor and different style, obviously, in terms of animation, because One Punch Man does have a pretty high-end animation, you know, that's the general consensus. Now, I did already say about the OST, I guess, I didn't really like the openings or the ending theme. And then there's this whole, you know, Cream Puzzle or whatever fuck they're called. They're not good. I actually bought one of them, like a Japanese brand recently, or was it a Chinese brand? They don't taste actually good. In the anime, they look very delicious, but no. I mean, at least the ones that they sell on the store shelves. But if you get like a fresh one, they might taste good. But this is not good pastry. So MASHLE definitely has a bad taste. But I mean, my end verdict here, it's an okay anime. It's kind of average, and it's not super original. It doesn't really have things that it has innovated the wheels. All of the things have been really borrowed down from, you know, from One Punch Man and Black Clover in terms of the setting of what Mash is about, because he's not able to use magic. So he's just using strength, and he's kind of silly in the same way, not very smart. And then, obviously, he's a bit, you know, kind of autistic in the same way as Saitama is from One Punch Man. And then the whole setting and the school and everything, like in terms of like how the people look, they are very Harry Potter. Like even they have the Quidditch or whatever's I don't remember the name of I think it's called Quidditch, when they fly with the brooms and shit. Even that is included here. So everything is in that sense like very Harry Potter-esque, but you know, it does its own thing here, even though it's borrowing like elements clearly from other anime and shows out there, and that's fine with me. It's like, it's a comedy show, it doesn't need to be super original, right? But I'm definitely going to be watching it more as the seasons pour out. They already announced that Cour 2 is coming out. Can we please go back to calling these at seasons? Like, why does it have to be Cour 1 and Cour 2? Like, what's the difference here? Can't we just call them seasons, like, for the sake of clarity? But anyhow, tomorrow I'm going to be probably reviewing Jigoku Raku, Hell's Paradise that is, and maybe some other things if I'm forgetting something I haven't reviewed yet for the season. But stay tuned for that. Subscribe, like, and share, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Cheers.